准备出发。沿当前道路继续行驶1.5公里，当前道路限速50。
Alright, so hi guys, so this is another video to sort of get you guys up to speed with the latest version of the XOS. We've just received the 5.3.08908 version, and I happen to have just gotten it this afternoon, or I received it this afternoon, but the whole update has been rolling out over some time now. Yeah, the purpose of this journey, and of course this video, is to get you a sort of experience of the drive. Now, one of the significant pieces that has been updated with regards to the drive is the AI driver. According to the release notes, there's been a good optimization to how AI driver functions. And I'm not too sure whether I've got AI driver on this particular journey that I've sort of signed on to. So let's see exactly, how that goes. And if it is, I will certainly activate that so that at least we get to see if indeed there has been a difference or any sort of optimization that is obvious. Okay, so it's again going to be about a 38 40 km drive. It is 2:46 now, and the projected time of arrival is about 3:30, and it's already doing stuff that I don't understand what it's doing. Look at that, occupying multiple lanes and all that. So already straight out of the bat, stuff is not good. Okay, but let's see if it is just one of those flukes, or it's going to be observed throughout. And when it does that, I really hate it, because then of course you've got people thinking that, oh, it's a human driver that is driving that way, and the drive is terrible. But again, it is what it is. This is actual NGP mode. This is not AI driver mode. If the route gets to recognize the AI driver mode, I will activate that. There is an AI driver mode on this route. I know for sure that I have recorded an AI drive for this particular route. So I'm quite surprised that it's not able to match the destination and the route with the recorded AI driver route. But anyway, let's see how that goes first. Keep this journey a bit more or less talking, and see exactly if any optimization by way of the AI drive mode is also applicable to the to the NGP mode. Now, I was saying earlier in my other videos about the fact that I wanted to make the the surround view screen, or the surround view UI, a little bit bigger, so you guys could actually see that. It happened to actually be a setting that I could have changed, but I actually it wasn't clear to me about how to do that change. But I was able to reach out to the customer care for for Xiaopeng to ask exactly how to get that done, and they walked me through some of that. Some of those little details are not very intuitive, so unless you've been told about it or you get a clear directions on how to do that change, you might perhaps not be able to sort of get to catch that early. And then the other thing, of course, also is the fact that the language and the manual for the car, everything is in Chinese. Unfortunately, I am not conversant in Chinese, neither can I read it. So one would even be asking that, why the hell will I even buy a Chinese car if I'm not exactly able to, and that was scary, okay? I had to hoot to get out of that. Normally I'll disengage completely because that was pretty scary. The guy was doing a U-turn, and the car was not recognizing that, or projecting the path of that U-turn to coincide with the path that it was on, and was just driving, So anyway, yeah, that's that. Let's see. So the yellow line, when it does signaling, is basically the predicted, path that it wants to be on. So the predicted path is essentially based on when you activate xNGP or NGP altogether. It gives you an idea of where it's going to be, and is also applicable to when you actually signal or manually signal to want to change lanes. So the projected lane or the projected track on which the car is going to find itself is highlighted in yellow, with a sort of also an indication of the predicted position the car is going to be in. So it gives you a good visual indication, of exactly what the car is going to do by way of the tracks you're on, and that sort of also is a sort of information that you can use as a driver to determine when maybe a certain action, or maybe if you're not happy about it, you can certainly disengage or knock the car out of the self-driving mode. So again, if I manually signal, it would indicate that, but this time it's blue because I've manually signaled and the path is almost like clear, and then of course that change lane will happen. If it is doing it itself and the lane is pretty clear with no sort of need to be too concerned, of course then it's blue. But if it's really predicting that with a car that is within the sort of vicinity of the car, then it will be yellow. I've never seen it red actually, but what happens is the car that is highlighted as within immediate or possible contact is normally highlighted as red, and then when it's yellow, when the car or when the object is yellow, it's an indication that of course that object is again within the perimeter of contact. So that's again, that's the SR display, and then on the smaller display you get the map, which is sort of good to get a sort of more or less a wider or a better view on the route congestion. So for purposes of piloting, you can rely on that to get a visibility as to what is the situation on the whole, on the whole route, and you can switch between the 3D, the 3D mode, and of course also the 2D mode, right? So the 2D mode gives you the typical planimetric view of the, of the map, and the 3D mode gives you almost like a height relief, a relief view of the road that you're on, and then of course the projected height of the road, sort of. Yeah, so that's that. I usually keep it at this, on this particular mode for the map, because then I can see a much more, longer view of, the route than would be if I switch to the 3D mode, because the 3D mode sort of because of the three-dimensional sort of projection, you are not actually able to see a much longer path, which gives you less visibility into wanting to maybe plan a reroute or change a route. As an example, you go in and maybe there's a lot of traffic in the route and you've got an opportunity to exit that particular route. This view does not give me that that very good decision point, but in the planimetric or in the plane map view, I get to see a bit more, which allows me to then pre-plan a change of route. So this is one of those stuff that is quite good. If you're doing long distance journeys, you could use that as a basis to guide yourself. And then of course, if you're doing short distance journeys, of course it doesn't hurt to have the 3D mode. It is just a fancy mode to have. You don't see any other thing other than the track that has been highly sort of mapped. So the reason we're seeing all these lanes is that this is basically a map sourced based on high definition mapping, right? So as a result, we can see the car on the specific lane that it's on because of that high definition recording of the route, and then it's not exactly available everywhere. So in certain cases it will back out of it, like in that case the high definition map does not cover this area, so it will back out. Now okay, so that's another good thing. So the release note indicated that there had been a pretty good work done by way of identifying the electronic toll gate. So again, that was something that is unique and would not normally be available in the other version or in the older version. Now we're tracking through, and path selection is a bit tricky. It's all over the place. It's able to pick it now, which is good. And then from here on, I have of course seen that the AI driver feature has sort of highlighted the fact that I've got it can relate the current drive to that. So I could essentially switch to AI driver if I wanted to, and then AI driver then takes us forward. Or I could then continue to see what it does with the with NGP, and then we can also get to experience if there's been any optimization of NGP in the typical sense. So yeah, so that experience with regards to the toll gate is an improved one compared to before within NGP mode. So I guess that's a plus and an obvious improvement compared to the 5.2 to 5, which was the previous version that I was on. Now this version, as I indicated, is the current latest version rolled out to the mass. It is a 5.3.0, 890, I think it's 890.3 or 890.8. Let me confirm that. I think it's 8.909 actually. Yeah, so this version is 8.909. So typically there's a long list of improvements that were touted as part of the release note. I will put the full release notes translation in the description of the video, so you could take a look at it. But again, it's sort of like translation, machine translation, so you could see some areas that might not sound cohesive, but you can sort of get your head around to get a sense of what it means, sort of. Yeah, so a bit of traffic stretch. There's a projected 2-minute wait in this traffic, or 2 minutes traffic, so to speak, with regards to the pace at which it's moving. And so we hope that after that 2 minutes in this particular highway traffic, we should get pretty much a green, an almost green path all the way through. So again, we hope that this trip is sort of like a lot more smoother, exciting as we navigate it with NGP. Because it's the highway drive is quite quite optimized. I will maybe try to speed through a lot of the the video from this part once we clear the traffic, just so that you guys don't get bored by a rant all the way through. So you get to pretty much experience what I would experience with little talk, because I'll just fast track or speed the video through those sections. And when it does anything that is unique, that compared to the older version of the software, that it's an enhancement or it is a retrogression in the quality of experience, I will then of course talk through those, and then you guys can perhaps see the perception from the driver's point of view. But again, all these videos about talking through one's experience of self-driving are going to be quite unique to every driver. You would expect a very experienced driver to be much more critical than a driver that is not very experienced. And so, for instance, if you had a rookie at driving, take over or try to use this service or this particular feature, I'm sure they will tell you that this is very, very good, right? But if you gave it to a very experienced driver, they would be able to identify perhaps policy execution that is really not optimal, that is risky, or that is indeed creating a jarring experience. So these sorts of talk through by way of relaying our experience of how the self-driving capability of a car is implemented or is executed is always going to be subjective, in my opinion. And it is very highly subjective because of the fact that a lot of the experience one would have gathered whilst driving as a human are not going to necessarily be the same across board. You certainly see this actually in real life, right? We all don't drive the same. We've got some very terrible drivers on the road. We've got drivers that are just beginning to experience the road. There are drivers that have zero experience and therefore are just coming to the whole driving paradigm completely new, and I expect that those kind of drivers would be much more embracive of self-driving capability. These are the drivers that would normally do very little by way of disengagement. They are as annoying as possible because of the fact that they don't have cognizance of the fact that you're sharing the road with other users. They feel the car is pretty much driving, and if it is very slow in taking decisions, they don't see that, because for them it is, the car will take the decision, or the car has taken the decision. The fact that you need to factor in all these other parameters into the equation as to sharing the road with others, making sure that you are doing defensive driving is not something that is normally of new drivers, or it's known of new drivers or those coming to driving fresh. So you would expect the people that are much more experienced driving and people who are driving enthusiasts will have a bit more critical view that would be other drivers, which is normal. And so I take it that the whole idea of providing verbal or sort of providing commentary on our experience of the drive is all subjective and can never be in my opinion objective. Okay, so so take it for what it is. You yourself try to apply some level of own critique from your own way of driving to the experience, and you could definitely be able to point out where you thought something should have been done better, and certainly we can talk through that, or within the comments. The other thing that you need to appreciate is that at the end of the day, this is a capability, a skill that is assumed by way of the engineering, is a capability that you sort of see embodied in the self-driving implementation. So you would expect that these capabilities will be enhanced over time, and my hope is that with Xiaopeng rolling out both Mona and then the P7 Plus, which are all purely based on AI sensor fusion, that it will sort of leverage the vision that is predominantly engineered by way of the self-driving capabilities within those cars, or the self-driving technology within those cars, and then be able to improve the algorithm to support self-driving across its fleet, right? Because P7 Plus, which is the latest release from Xiaopeng, which yesterday, being Monday, 14th of October, Xiaopeng actually did the global release of that particular version, or the P7 Plus, in its Enchant Paris sort of launch. With that also was the precursor to that, which was the global release of the updated version of the XOS. So we pretty much are hoping that with that sort of wider adoption of that particular fleet, we would get a good variety of training data that can enhance the capability and the skills of the car in driving. It's looking good, but again, there are a lot of headwinds by way of capability in actually doing these sort of iterative updates frequently, and then also to ensure that an update does not retrogress the experience that perhaps the previous version would have perhaps shown, right? Because once you get into the area of having to use neural net, you need to make sure that your training of the model that is supporting the driving scenarios is addressing all the scenarios, is tested for all the scenarios, and then there are guardrails to ensure that the experience that is sort of promoted by the previous version is not diluted when you release a newer version. So these are some of the concerns that one would have to watch out for, and of course it's important for Xiaopeng software team to ensure that they are keeping a good sense of watch on these version updates or version changes over time. So again, the experience so far, the tollgate experience was improved, I think. Let's see if we would see any other key update to the feature of self-driving on the highway as we traverse the journey. Alright, so I'll keep quiet for a little bit now, and then if there's any obvious sort of experience that is popping up, I will sort of slow down the video and then talk through that. But from here on, let's try to speed the video, and you guys enjoy it.
要经过拥堵路段，长度1.6公里，预计通行时间5分钟。
So this is a heavy traffic that we are on now. The traffic was actually signaling 3 minutes slow drive. It is moved up to 5 minutes wait or 5 minutes slow drive, and it's meant to run for 1.3 km with this rate. The indication of the cause for the traffic seems to be an accident. It looks like, yeah, that's what it indicates, that some sort of accident of some sort, or maybe some sort of it's not very clear, but yeah, there's something over there that indicates something's happening. Yeah, always there's something happening, right? That's why you always get this slow pace on the highway. And because this is a 120 km limit highway, and now we are pretty much, you know, pacing at 5 km per hour. But what I wanted to talk about was that the car needs to begin to navigate to the outer lane, because we need to be preparing to exit, and 1.2 kilometers to every exit as part of the policy baked into the driving execution. It's supposed to start to do that sort of change of lane. Unfortunately, because it's a heavy traffic, it's quite tricky for it. When there is an opportunity to change lanes, it's not able to react quickly, and again, reaction time is very, very poor. I keep complaining about that. The reaction between perception and decision are very important to sort of avoid risky situations. So there I had to urge it on to move forward by tapping on the accelerator. Otherwise it was going to basically be caught in a loop, like trying to perceive, decide, sort of. That loop is one of Xiaopeng's biggest software flaw with regards to its autonomous driving stack. So it would be good if later on that is fixed as soon as possible. There's an opportunity there. That guy made a slight error in judgment, and so he was able to sort of sneak in there, which is what you'd hope for, right? But if everyone was attentive, it would basically be quite tricky trying to change lanes all the way to that side. Let's see how it basically fares trying to do this. Again, observing how others are using the road and avoiding a situation where it sort of rear-ends someone, or indeed, ends up navigating itself away from people trying to drive, or cars trying to drive into its lane. So we certainly need to get onto the other, onto the other track, or before we can actually feel comfortable in this mode. So it signaled again it wants to make that change. This Tesla beside me may perhaps be the opportunity it needs to make that change of lane, but the track starts to move fast, so again it now needs to balance between keeping up with the lane and then also making that decision to switch lane or to change lane to the other track. Now there could be an opportunity here, but the Tesla comes in to take that space, or the predicted space, so it again has to fall back to slowing down, and it can't get the opportunity anymore, because this track now shows the continuous lane is one that you can't cross. Okay, so the policy is you cannot cross continuous lane, and you can see that, so it's guarded against that, but hopefully after that it can, and then we could certainly have a smooth lane change. Okay, so that was lucky, quite frankly, because if it was a pretty heavy traffic after that, it would have actually gotten itself into a bit of a mix, and you can see the predicted path based on the high definition map projection. But good thing, okay, we seem to have cleared that part, so good. And this is our exit. Now the high definition map would sort of end, and that's why you're seeing that, and it has to fall back to LCC. So now we are back in LCC, and I know I've got an AI driver also feature here. So I would activate AI driver because I've driven this route before, and see if it's able to make the experience a bit more better. Okay, go. AI driver has activated. I've executed this path before, so selecting the right lane for electronic toll is being done correctly. It has to slow down for the toll to open. So to recognize, first of all, is a toll, to recognize that it's open, and then of course to be able to navigate through the lane is very important, and it has been able to do that successfully. So again, that's a good thing, but I'm not too sure whether that was significantly an improvement over the previous version. I think it is. I would assume, and some of these improvements would be so minute that it might not be very obvious, but it includes the confidence the car has now to channel itself through the toll curbs, the toll gate curbs, which essentially guardrail anyone from crossing over, and then also the capability to detect in time whether the toll is open or not. So some of those enhancements would be very, very fine details that it might not be so obvious, but all of them sort of combine to improve the confidence in detection, confidence in planning, and then confidence in effectively actuating the robotics that support the drive itself. So I think that was, in my opinion, good, I would say, and hopefully it is sort of going to be applied across all the toll gate experiences. Not 100%, but effectively giving us the better confidence of the car being able to navigate through toll gates. we are coming onto an intersection and two intersections actually, and these intersections are always problematic to sort of drive through, and I think I will perhaps put up a video somewhere, you know, again within the notes so that folks can take a look at that. But the key observation with, you know, this intersection is the ability to choose a good path and then execute that path. There's a lot of hesitation sometimes when it gets here as to which path it should select and how it can navigate itself through. That is something that I hope that, you know, has improved with this version, but let's see. I need to certainly back out of this particular navigation using the, you know, the AI driver, because I needed to use the AI driver to test whether the experience had actually improved going through the toll. But now, since the destination for this particular AI drive is different from where I really want to go now, I'll have to back out and then pretty much select the new route that it's supposed to actually go on, so we can actually experience whether, so that's again some of the decisions that are done, or that decisions that are taken that are not exactly very good. It shows that maybe the underlying logic is not very good, or the underlying logic again is failing to use real-time perception for planning. The reason I say this is that we've got 360-degree camera, so it should have seen that, you know, the BMW was getting closer and quickly navigate itself away from the path of the BMW. It did not do that. It was pretty much like going straight on, and that could potentially end up with, you know, either me scratching him or him perhaps, you know, thinking that I've already seen that he's trying to change lanes. So I will definitely slow down, and, you know, with each of us, you know, hoping that someone would do the right thing, that could have ended up with a bit of a scratch, or maybe, you know, a hit, or, you know, rear siding him, or perhaps side brushing him. So I had to disengage there, and that is predominantly one of the consistent flaws, again, with the architecture of its, you know, of its self-driving vision and perception system. You would wonder that, you know, why didn't the radar pick the fact that the car was close? Why didn't the vision, you know, basically vision see that, you know, there is a car close? And why weren't all those important, you know, information points supporting the decision to whether, you know, it was supposed to go straight or not? Okay, so again, here is one of those cases. It's Navigator that is going to use this route to go through that intersection, which is good, because sometimes it certainly, you know, signals that it's going to go left, and then it ends up going right. And well, it's not the car alone. We've got human beings also doing the same thing anyway. So again, that was okay. This is a better experience of its ability to sort of make a decision for an intersection, and at least stick to it. In the past, it would make a decision on a path through an intersection and then be changing, so it will be signaling left, but, you know, navigating right, or signaling right and navigating left. That coordination is not very good so far. So I hope that at least, you know, it's improved in this particular version. Another thing that is quite obvious and always gets me is there is a U-turn coming up ahead, and the car is not able to, you know, make the experience of that U-turn a smooth one. It tries to execute the U-turn using a wide-angle technique, and one would, you know, be quite disappointed that why is a robot using a wide angle technique to actuate this when it's not, so it tries to, and you can see that before it then does the turnaround. Okay, so here it's supposed to observe. There is a car coming in that lane. I have to stop it. You get it? And so these are some of the little kinks in the way the stuff is being implemented that sometimes really isn't really good. It doesn't give confidence to the driver that the car is doing the right thing. Maybe it would have stopped, but it might stop in the middle of the in the middle of the lane of that guy coming in, which would be perhaps too late, or perhaps it would create a sort of a need for that guy to slam his brakes, creating an inconvenient experience for him. So in that case, I need to disengage. So again, that's it for now. Thanks a lot. It was pretty much an experience of the latest version of XOS, version 5.3.08909. Hopefully we get to experience more of it, and I will talk through a lot more of it in the future. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching, and certainly drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, support me as I sort of walk through the experience of the alternative self-driving capabilities out there, so that at least folks can also see what's happening out there. It's not only Tesla, what's happening also in China, as Xiaopeng actually was the company that took the lead with regards to launching self-driving within China. Of course, we talk a lot about the advantage it had, but then again, it is Xiaopeng was the first company that actually launched self-driving in China, and that's a sort of a significant sort of feat. So yeah, hope that was good. Talk to you on the next one. Cheers. Bye bye.